Hey, it's Riley from Superhuman, and in this video I want to talk to you about getting the superhuman physique, getting that chiseled, Adonis looking body that we're really all after. And there's so many contradicting things that you hear on the internet of what exactly is it you do. So here I'm going to tell you what has worked for me, what has worked for my clients, what have I seen in the research that is actually working for people on the front lines. I'm working with them in the trenches, looking at their lab testing, looking at their Oura Ring results, tracking how many calories they're eating each day, looking how much weight they're pressing each day. It goes on and monitoring that with what their bodies are looking like in the mirror, how they're feeling, etc., without sacrificing your life. Okay, so let's get started. So the very first thing that you want to do if you're looking to get the superhuman physique is really understand, what is your goal? Is your goal fat loss? Is your goal lean muscle? Or is your goal a combination of both at the same time? And it's all possible. You just have to get clear on what your goal is and then decide on that program and protocol for you. Execute the program and stay consistent to that program. Most people don't see the results because they're not staying consistent to that program, and it's going to take results. You have to understand that the results are not in how good that program is in itself, which for sure is a determining factor, but it's only a small piece of the pie. The real X factor is how consistent you stay with it. Now, other plans, when you stay consistent with it across the board, if you're consistent with all of them, you're going to see faster results if you follow the better program, of course, but just know that that is extremely important for what you're doing. So let's start first with fat loss. If you are looking to lose fat in the gym, one of the best things that you can do is actually lift weights. It's not doing intensive amounts of cardio. It's not running marathons. It's not necessarily starving yourself. The reason why is because if we're trying to lose fat and we're doing all this rigorous exercise, what is going to happen is not only are we going to start to lose fat, but we're going to lose muscle at the same time. Now, what's happening under the hood of our biology, if we're doing too much cardio and different things like this, it's going to put a massive stress on our body and our body's hormonal system and our body's stress system, and this is known as our body's HPA axis. It's a sort of triangle network where it's your hypothalamus, which is in your brain, your pituitary gland, which is in your brain, and then your adrenal glands, which is kind of located sort of midway through your torso, and they communicate with each other as this network. So if you're revving in sixth gear and you're feeling stressed, and this isn't perceived stress like, oh, I have a deadline or I'm experiencing a lot of stress right now, like we think we are at work or something. That's one form of stress. But another form of stress is internal hidden stress. And this is typically what we are not aware of. So you might not have perceived high stress, but the stress that you're feeling inside or not feeling inside could actually be very high. So you have to be very careful with what you feel, with what's actually there. And that's where lab testing can come in. And that's a topic for another video. But if, for example, you look at marathon runners typically are quite skinny, and sure, they might have a little bit of muscle and they have very little fat too, but compare that to a sprinter like Usain Bolt. They typically have a lot of muscle packed on and they have little fat. But what you have to understand is there's a hard way to go about it and there's an easy way to go about it. So the hard way is, let's say you're eating salads all day and you're doing intense amounts of cardio and you're not lifting any weights. And that's a big no-no. And I think a lot of people did that before, but people are becoming more smart as the science is catching up. And we're seeing what's more efficient, because it's about efficiency here. We want to get more output with less work involved, with less effort involved. And so if we can start lifting weights, what it's going to do is add muscle mass to our body. And when we add muscle mass to our body, that's actually going to increase our metabolism. And so it's not about just losing fat while you're sitting, while you're going to the gym and going on the treadmill, going on the stair climber, or lifting weights. We don't actually really lose fat there, or if we're going for a walk or if we're going for a run outside. We actually lose fat while we're sitting down. We actually lose fat while we're sleeping. And this is all controlled by our basal metabolism rate. And you can look into this, but to really simplify it, we can actually optimize our hormones in such a way so that we don't really have to do as much cardio. Maybe we just need to walk every so often, or while we're sleeping, our hormones are so optimized and we're getting so much deep sleep, which is where the human growth hormone, HGH, is released. That's going to be helping with not only a recovery process, but also our fat loss too, because our testosterone is going to be high, recovery is going to be good, and so much more. So the number one thing I can suggest to you, if you're looking to lose fat alone, is to start lifting heavy weights. And what I typically suggest for most people is between 6 and 8 reps for about 2 to 3, maybe sometimes 4 sets. Now this is good because we're going to start to activate a little bit of hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is more when there's fast twitch and slow twitch muscle fibers, and when we target the fast twitch muscle fibers between about 5 or 6 to 8 reps, we're going to start tapping more into that strength. When we go from about 8 reps to 12 reps, we're going to be going more into, the toned sort of looking body. Now, the secret answer is we actually want to do both, but primarily what we want to focus on is between that 6 to 8 rep range. And every workout that we're doing, we want to increase the weight about 5 to 10% if we can each workout. And if we're increasing our strength, there is a very good chance that we are going to be increasing our muscle. And the more muscle we have, the better our blood sugar stabilization is going to be. Our hormones are going to be better optimized, and all these things, so that when you now achieve that muscle, you're just that same person sitting there compared to, let's say, a version of you that has more fat in their body, and you're just being a fat burning machine. While other people are not losing as much fat, they're having to go to eat those salads, or so they think, or they're having to go to do those cardios, the runs. You can just go to bed knowing that you're going to lose fat. You can be sitting there knowing that your body's losing fat. Now, of course, we want to do cardio. Of course, we want to keep lifting weights. But one of the best things that you can do for losing fat is going to be lifting weights. Now, in terms of when it comes to your diet, it can get pretty complex, but here's what you can do to simplify. What you want to do is multiply your weight that's in pounds by 13, and that's how many calories you want to eat per day. Now, what I like to do is to go to myfitnesspal.com, and in previous videos I talked to you about what is the best types of foods that you should be eating. So we want to make sure food quality is number one. But once the food quality is down, now we want to know how much food quantity should we be eating, at what frequency. And so I typically suggest multiplying your weight in pounds by 13, and you're going to get a number in calories. Let's say that number is 2,100 calories. You want to eat this amount of calories every single day. Now, we can go into meal timing of saving more of your carbs for after a workout or for dinner time, but we'll get into that in another video. But what I want you to focus on is multiplying your body weight by 13, and that's how much you should be eating each day. Now, we're going to be here at a slight caloric deficit, and the whole idea is we're not going into these massive fat loss types of programs with our diet, because when we do that, what's going to happen is it's going to spike up our cortisol. We're going to feel hungry. We're going to get those hunger urges, and for many people, they yo-yo. And what happens a lot of the time, if people go in too much of a calorie deficit, they go into starvation mode, and when they go into starvation mode, they just feel like crap all day, and their mental function is down, and a lot of other things are down together. And so if you can go, instead of a massive deficit, just a slight deficit, and typically that's about 400 calorie deficit compared to your maintenance. And your maintenance is how many calories are you eating that is going to maintain your current body weight, and that's typically multiplied by 15. But if we multiply your body weight by 13, we have just a deficit. So every day you're losing a little bit of fat, but not so much where it's going to be impacting your brain performance, your body performance, and a lot of other things too. Now, with that considered, let's say your goal now is gaining lean muscle. You feel like your body fat is pretty low. Typically, we want it between 11 and 12%. Everybody's goal is different, but if it's not at 11 or 12%, then you probably want to go into a little bit of the fat loss mode. And you can switch between these phases. Do the one phase for 2 to 3 months, see how you feel, and then switch over to the next phase. Maybe summer's coming up and you want to lose some fat to show off your six-pack. Great, do that phase. And what I love about this is how dynamic it is. And then if it's wintertime and you're bulking, then we can go to the lean bulk, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So what you want to do with the lean bulk is multiply your body weight by 15, and that's going to be your maintenance calories. Then what we want to do is add 400 to 600 calories each day. If your body fat is closer to 9 or 10%, we can go upwards of plus 600 calories from our maintenance each day. If our body weight is, closer to 12, 13%, I probably suggest going plus 400 calories each day. Now, this is going to be very difficult to track, and so what I typically suggest is you can eat the same foods every single day after you tracked it in MyFitnessPal to make sure that you are hitting those calories each and every day. Now, when you do that and you combine that with progressive overload with your weights, where every workout you're doing, you're increasing the weight by 5 to 10% for that same exercise, then you're going to see strength gains. And when you see strength gains, you are definitely going to see muscle gains as well. Now, we can go further down the rabbit hole and do lab testing on you to see genetically, is it better for you to do more strength-based workouts or to do more hypertrophy, maybe aerobic workouts? What is the best type for you? But regardless, the more stimulus you put on your muscle, the more muscle you're gonna build. The more muscle you build, the better your body is going to respond with blood sugar regulation, with you sleeping well, and you can get away with a lot more, because when your body is in such a surplus, your health bank account is at such a surplus, you can afford to take out these withdrawals. So maybe you go and you eat with friends, maybe you go and drink alcohol, but it doesn't impact you as much compared to that old version of you that you would have this thing and you would have this one piece of food and you would gain all this body weight right away because your body hormones were not optimized. And so if you approach it this way, you can really live the superhuman lifestyle where you can go out, you can only work out 2 to 3 times a week. If you're a busy entrepreneur, you can go to the gym 45 minutes in, and you can go have that social life that you're looking for. You can chase success and whatever that means to you. You don't have to be a gym rat at the gym to do it. And it's a lot easier than you think if you work smarter and not harder. So we're just scratching the surface here. I can't wait to dive into more of it with you as we're launching this new Superhuman brand. I'm gonna be talking a lot about this. If you'd like more information, how does the Superhuman model work? What does it mean and how can we adopt it into your lifestyle? I included a video down below that you can check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can find me, Riley Jarvis, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And I can't wait to talk to you real soon.